Well, hello there, and I do hope you're all well. In this final video of the week of the Cross-Party Select Committee meeting surrounding the Ministerial Code, yes, our wet blanket Lord Geidt just finished floundering around trust issues with our main Prime Minister Boris Johnson. The baton was handed to Labour MP Karin Smyth, and like William Wragg, she started with a couple of belly-tickling questions. Then she asked for examples of where his position was needed in recent months, you know, like where the ministerial code could have been broken. When you're going to ask for when you've been asked for examples, I think it's probably best if you use ones that paint you in a bit of glowing colours, I suppose.
Expect that to continue.
You preempt my next question is about when the Prime Minister might intervene.
Yes.
So, on public interest grounds, are those your examples then?
Well, I mean, I can.
Do you have any other examples?
Well, I could offer, say, an example on a leak inquiry, for example. And if a leak inquiry were to touch on ministerial involvement, say, while the government was in the business of effecting an inquiry, that might cause a pause in my right to initiate. I mean, I would set this in the context that I have been given a greater role of transparency as well, such that if the grounds for the Prime Minister failing to give consent are not themselves likely to create difficulty in those named areas, I would have the right to publish the fact that consent had been withheld, and to the extent possible, to explain why.
Okay.
So that the public would have the opportunity to see that consent had been withheld. But this is charting new territory, because we haven't really had yet worked examples of precisely that situation.
Okay, but we do have a recent leak, with regard to the legal advice on the Northern Ireland Protocol, where the advice given by the Attorney General to the Prime Minister has been leaked. Does that not constitute a relevant example?
It may well do. You'll recall that my new powers are squeaky new, and I haven't either been asked to or indeed press my own interest in giving advice in that.
Why not?
The Prime Minister hasn't asked you to investigate why that legal advice was leaked.
No.
Have you asked the Attorney General how that advice was leaked?
Have I asked?
Yes.
No, I have not.
But your new powers do allow you to ask.
Well, my new powers would allow me, I think, unrestricted, to ask questions of the entirety of government and other.
You raised the issue of the leak. The leak, clearly is very serious that legal advice on such an important matter has been leaked. Do you think it breaches the Ministerial Code? I would suggest it breaches the Ministerial Code 2.13. Would you agree?
Well, I have not formed any advice, and I have not brought an inquiry to bear on the situation.
That's not the question she asked you, Tit. Just asked, did that breach the Ministerial Code? Yeah, Egypt.
Does it breach the Ministerial Code to have... This is a really highly unusual situation. Does it breach the Ministerial Code that advice has been leaked?
Well, again, I would want to ensure that I could, consider that fully before reaching a determination. By the way, the determination is then only advice, as you know, to the Prime Minister for him to form.
Have you looked at reaching a determination before?
In this case, no.
But you have been asked to do that, haven't you? I mean, I know that the Shadow Attorney General, for example, has written to you to
Yes.
ask you to consider that some weeks ago. So
Yes.
why haven't you started to consider that?
Because this presently rests with government, as I think the Shadow Attorney General may have
Look at the thumbs.
seen in the response that came from my office.
When did your response go?
I regret I can't give you
We can-
precise detail, but
Check that. But so I'm still not clear whether you think there has been a breach of the ministerial code.
and I would want to bring more thought to bear before I reach that.
But if you've already responded to the Shadow Attorney General, then some thought
if
must
I may
be
say
given
so,
to that.
if I may say so, the advice was procedural, and not yet to engage the independent advisor in the Senate.
Okay, you said earlier that the responsibility, essentially, that you're the practitioner, but the responsibility rests with the minister. So either in this case, the Prime Minister is responsible for leaking that advice, or the Attorney General is responsible for leaking that advice. Would you agree?
I can't comment because I really don't know I really don't know more of the facts than have been put.
Okay,
to
we've
me.
not had an issue of this seriousness, I don't believe, of leaking advice for decades. I think I'm right, but I could check, perhaps since the Westland affair. I mean, I sometimes feel I'm living in the 1980s, but I think that's probably as far back as something as critical as this goes with regard to a breach of the ministerial code, for which you are here before us as the independent advisor. And I really find it quite shocking that there's not more thought gone into that, or more correspondence, or at least a confidential understanding with either the Attorney General, who has leaked this, or is responsible for leaking it, or the Prime Minister, who has leaked it or is responsible for leaking it. Does that not lay bare the central problems with your role, if you really haven't given that much thought to it?
I'm certain that I will give necessary thought to it. At the moment, and with regret, I've pointed to the fact that procedurally this has been directed to government to
The Prime Minister?
consider.
What do you mean when you say the government? To the Prime Minister?
If you'll forgive me, I don't have the response that you kindly refer to hand.
Well,
But
perhaps we can get that by the end of the session and come back to it later, Chair.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Again, sorry for the butting in and laughing. Couldn't help it. It's just couldn't help but laughing. But what an idiot! If you're going to use examples of when you think the investigate where the ministerial code going to be broken, at least use ones where they run smoothly and at least paint you in a good light, don't they? Not anyone in the hope that they're going to not ask any more questions at the very least. God. But anyway, I do hope you enjoyed the video, and I do hope you all have a fantastic weekend. Until the next time, I shall bid you farewell, and as my old boss used to say, be good, and if not, be good at it. Take care.